I sure do like this time of the year. Ah, it's great. All that green, look at it. We got 3 more days before our chicks should hatch. So that means the incubator is no longer spinning. It's stopped spinning, and now we got to raise the humidity to 70%. I'm going to read the instructions again because I'm sure that there's a range, you know, like 70 to 75% or whatever it is. So we'll add more water in today at supper time to get a higher humidity. Right now it's about 54%, and we've really struggled to keep it low in this high humid environment. It got real hot right after a big rain, and so all that water is just evaporating. But the warmer temperatures does make life a lot easier around here. It's just everything's easier. I don't have to worry about water freezing. I don't have to worry about keeping the wood stove going. Carolyn doesn't have to worry about laundry. She can do laundry out here, whereas in the wintertime she's got to do laundry inside with a bucket. In the summertime, she's got these sinks over here, much easier, and she can actually use it as a wash machine over here. So she'll put her clothes in a basket like this, and then she can put the basket in the sink, and then she can use it like a wash machine. So she really likes doing it that way, but in the wintertime, she can't do it. The spinner, she's got a spinner here that spin dries. Trying to do it one hand is gonna be near impossible. But in the wintertime, she's got to use this inside in the shower, so it's very difficult for her to use, but in the summertime she can use that here. I've already had to replace a bearing on this because the bearings froze in there that makes this spin, so it froze and got rusted, and it was just a big mess. So she has to leave this inside in the winter. It's also easier to dry the clothes in the summertime. In the wintertime it freezes up, and just everything's more complicated in the winter. And raising chicks in the summertime is easier. If we had a big heated building, then we could raise chicks in the winter also, incubate and all that stuff. We can't do that in the wintertime here. It would just be too complicated. We'd have a huge loss all the time. And we'd have to raise them inside the house, our little tiny house, for 8-10 weeks. They'd be huge before they were able to go outside. And then we'd have to butcher them and clean them and all that. Summertime's just a lot easier. We do have the capability of running an air conditioner. We had one down in the camper when we first moved here. It's still in there. I ran it last year for the chickens because I was having to move the chickens back and forth from the chicken run back into the camper back and forth. The camper gets so hot sitting out there in the middle of the yard with no shade. So I would turn on the generator and we could run the air conditioner. It can run off the solar panels for a couple hours. You turn it on at the heat of the day, which is what we were doing when we were living in it. 1-2 o'clock, you turn it on and then shut it off about 5 o'clock. That worked out okay on sunny days, but the problem is, and this was a serious problem, is you get a cloud that come by and it would just suck the juice out of the batteries. So it was just easier to run it on the generator if you're going to run it. We did run it one night while we were down there, throughout the night. I remember one night specifically. But last year up here, we don't have an air conditioner, didn't need one. It stays quite cool underneath these trees. Now, a lot of people don't seem to understand how well the trees do for us. It's just absolutely incredible. When I made the clear roof, the see-through roof here on the porch, a lot of people said that was a ridiculous idea. You'll never be able to sit on the porch, but you can see it's completely shaded all day long. See, the floor here is completely shaded. So it's very nice to come out here and eat some watermelon. We don't have any right now, so we're gonna go shopping soon. We'll go get some watermelon and we'll sit out here on the porch, eat watermelon. I mean, this is just the life. But what I don't understand is the other day, the first day it was hot, I got a ton of people saying, you're not gonna be able to do this the rest of your life. It's just too hot. You're going to have an air conditioner. And I'm so confused by that in 2 aspects. One, why are you watching an off-grid channel if you assume that you're going to have an air conditioner? I mean, that just doesn't make sense to me. I'm sure somebody's going to say, well, I got medical conditions, I have to have an air conditioner. And then the second reason is, what do you think people did in Mississippi in July, back in the 1800s and before they made air conditioners? They sat out on the porch, drinking lemonade or tea or whatever it is they drank, water. And that's key, is to keep yourself hydrated. In my opinion, I think winter is more dangerous than summer. If you can keep yourself hydrated with water, not soda, not coffee, not all that other junk, but with water, I think you're fine. You're going to be sweating a lot. And so you just got to replace the water that you're losing. And Carolyn and I have done this for several years now. We went to Utah in the middle of summer. It was August. I think it was August. Temperatures up there in 100 degrees. And it's so dry in Utah that when you sweat, it just evaporated. Your shirt was never wet like it is here in Missouri. I mean, your shirt's always wet here, but not there. So you had to remember to drink water. And Carolyn and I did fine. I mean, it was hot, don't get me wrong. It was pretty intense. We sat in the shade whenever we could and just drank water. I mean, we got through it. And the same thing here. We got through it. I knew an old lady. I painted her house, cut her grass a few years ago, and she didn't have an air conditioner. She would just sit on her back porch. It was a windowed back porch, so all the windows were open. She'd have fans on. She'd sit on that back porch drinking water and enjoying the fan. If you can keep the fan on you, I think that's key. We have a little fan in there. We put it in the window and it blows on us, and that your body is designed to keep cool. When you sweat, that's good. You're sweating. All you need now is a breeze to keep yourself cool. Sitting out here on the porch, you don't get much of a breeze. But sitting in front of the fan, you get plenty of breeze. One of the things that I've noticed is I think Americans have gotten spoiled, I guess is the best way to put it. And I was the same way. I like to have my air conditioner and I like to have my heat. I remember my ex-wife would complain that I would turn the heater on in the morning and turn the air conditioner on in the afternoon. And I understood her complaint, but in the end, I was cold and I was hot. You can toughen yourself up. And Carolyn and I think, have done a very good job of toughening ourselves up. I hate winter. Can't stand it. The winter that we came here March 1st. That winter before that, oh, it was miserable. We went to Texas in the camper, and we were going to all these free city parks. They had free water, free electric. It was a really nice little donation. But it was so windy and cold. Now think about this. Yeah, it was western Texas, northwestern Texas, and it was cold and windy all the time. I just couldn't stand it. Think about it, Texas. So then we parked in Mom's yard for, I think, a month while we got everything put together. Got our solar panels and just everything before we came down here. And I would go out to the baseball field and I would make my videos in the snow and the cold and the wind. Oh, I mean, I absolutely couldn't stand it. It was just miserable. But I come here and I immediately start toughening up almost instantly. This last winter, I didn't even notice that it was all that cold. The winter before that, we were here and I built a house way up into January time frame. And I never really was bothered by the cold. By the time we got it all closed in, Carolyn started putting the pallet wood inside. We turned on the wood stove and I was still working outside, and Carolyn would work inside, and when I get a little cold, I come in and warm up. But it really wasn't bad. And then it dropped down to like 1 degree. It was cold. And I still came outside. I mean, I was a little chilly, but I mean, I wasn't just absolutely miserable. So I toughened up. So this last winter, I don't think I noticed the winter at all. And there were some days it was colder, I put on my coat. Other days I just wear my sweatshirt. Now I am a little bit still more sensitive to cold than Carolyn is, and Carolyn is a little bit more sensitive to heat than I am. But we've toughened up. It seems to me that things are going to start getting pretty bad pretty quick. Just got a headline today saying that experts are saying that there are going to be blackouts this summer because everybody's going to be running their air conditioners. We saw this a few years ago in Texas. The electric grid went down in the middle of winter. Well, it's going to go down in the middle of summer this time, and so we better start preparing. I would say that it would be better to learn how to live without air conditioner. In the heat, the serious heat, right now it's 90 degrees, and yeah, it's warm, but when we get hot, Carolyn comes out and works on the garden, and when she starts to get hot, she comes in, sits in the fan, cools off, drinks some water, and then goes back out and works. And now remember, she's sensitive to heat, so it takes a little bit more effort for her than it does me, whereas in the wintertime, she'll come outside before I will. I can't remember ever having air conditioner when I was a kid. I've tried to think about it, and there may have been short stints of time where there was air conditioning, but in general, I don't think there was air conditioning. We always put a box fan in the window, and of course you blew the fan outwards. That way it sucked all the air in the house. I remember Mom and Dad had an air conditioner in their bedroom, but we didn't have one. So you just kind of adapt to it and you get used to it. And so I'm sure that I'm not the only child in the world that didn't have air conditioner. But then we grow up and all of a sudden everybody has to have air conditioner. And when they come onto the channel to talk about air conditioner, it's like there's never been life without air conditioning. There are sometimes I think, how did you ever get through life without knowing that air conditioning is not a thing? We've gotten so spoiled that it's not even considered that you can survive without air conditioning. I can almost assure you that somebody's going to come onto this video and say, you're wrong, you got to have something to cool you down. Yes, maybe a fan would be great. That's all you really need. I know when the breeze picks up, I'm outside and it's like, ah, this is so nice. And that's all you really need. I know my grandpa, he was a carpenter, and he refused to get a air conditioner because he didn't want to get used to the air conditioning, because he had to go outside in the middle of summer and work in the extreme heats, building houses out in the middle of the sun. I remember when I was real little, they had this huge window fan. I mean, it was huge, belt driven, whole thing, and it sucked air through the house and out. And then when they moved, they got an attic fan, and it sucked air through the house up through the attic. And that's all they ever used. And Grandpa retired then, and he still refused to get a air conditioner. If you can check out this super thanks button down there, I'd really appreciate it. I hope I can inspire you to learn how to live off grid so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.